Welcome to my channel, Duggar Family News. Jinger Duggar is sharing how she overcame her eating disorder. With her mom Michelle Duggar's support, the reality star opened up about her insecurities as a teenager and how they led to her skipping meals to lose weight. As a young girl, Duggar would constantly compare herself to her friends because she thought she was overweight. However, despite their complicated relationship, Michelle Duggar stepped in to help her daughter through this difficult time on a recent episode of the Unplanned podcast with Matt and Abby Howard. Jinger Duggar revealed that her mother came up with a foolproof plan for monitoring her eating habits. Duggar shared that because her mother struggled with bulimia, she suggested that the two of them text each other about everything they would eat in a day that we can eat healthy together. Michelle Duggar told her daughter. Jinger Duggar confessed that her mom's intervention was the best thing that happened to her. According to Duggar, sharing this journey with her mother helped her feel less lonely and gave her a healthy perspective on food. Soon enough, she realized that she wanted to give her body the nutrition it needed. With her mother's support and understanding, Jinger Duggar stopped thinking about her weight and focused on gaining her energy back. In a recent interview with Entertainment Tonight, Jinger Duggar also revealed that she and her husband are expecting a baby boy. Duggar and Vu announced their third pregnancy in October 2024 and shared how excited they were to welcome the latest addition to their family of four, as reported by People. While speaking to Entertainment Tonight, Duggar, who shares her two daughters with Vu, confessed that she was surprised to find out the gender of her third baby. The reality star shared that since her pregnancy felt the same as her previous ones, she was expecting to have a girl again. However, when she found out that she was having a boy, she almost fell off her chair. According to Duggar, having a boy felt like a foreign thing to both her and Vu. She joked that her little boy might have a hard time fitting in with her two girls. As far as the name goes, Duggar is not planning on revealing it until the baby is born. In the same interview, Duggar shared where she stands with her parents and her brother Josh Duggar, who is currently serving time in prison for possessing child pornography. According to Jinger Duggar, she doesn't exactly see eye to eye with her parents, but she still has nothing but love for them. When it comes to her brother, Jinger Duggar confirmed that she has not spoken to him since he has been in prison and has no plans to maintaining a relationship with him. All I can do is just pray for his family, his victims, added Duggar. All episodes of Counting On and 19 Kids and Counting are available to stream on Discovery Plus. Jinger Duggar has made it very clear that she and husband Jerry Vallow have no interest in having 19 children the way her parents Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar did. But could there be a chance one of her siblings does? When Jinger appeared on the Unplanned podcast this week, she shared her thoughts on who she thinks might end up with the biggest family of their own. While talking to hosts Matt and Abby Howard, Jinger said, "It's very possible at least one of the Duggar kids will have a huge gaggle of babies, and in her mind her brother Cheetah might be the most likely to do. Bio, get this, one of my brothers is a twin. Okay, he and his wife, they're pregnant with twins, of their twins are going to be born before their oldest turns 3. So they're going to have 4 under the age of 2, so it's possible," she said. Since Jinger recorded the podcast, Jed and wife Kate have welcomed their twins daughters Elsie and Emma. As for Jinger, she and Jeremy are already parents to daughters Felicity and Evangeline and are expecting their third child, a baby boy. But he almost didn't exist. Jinger admitted that she and Jeremy weren't sure if they should add another baby to the mix that I was so comfortable with where we were with our girl. She said on the podcast, "I was starting to really feel like we've hit a rhythm, and I wasn't wanting to just jump into having a third kid immediately, so that's why they have 4-year age gap now. Still, there's no doubt that their third baby is going to bring a lot of joy to their family." And he's Jed and Katie's twins. Jeremiah's wife Hannah is also expecting. a baby who will be their third child. Although Jim, Bob, and Michelle were open about their anti-birth control stance. Because of their faith, many of their adult children don't appear to be following in their footsteps. Not only has Jill admitted to using birth control, she and husband Derek Dillard have 3 boys, but the families seem to be much smaller when compared to the one they grew up in. John and Abby only have 2 children, and Joy, Anna, and Austin have 3. It's definitely going to be interesting to see what the future holds. Are Jad and Katie going to make it to 19? Kids, that's their goal. They're already off to a good start. Jinger Duggar was a teenager when her family gained fame on the TLC reality series 19 Kids and Counting. You won't find any Duggars on the 2025 TV schedule these days, but plenty of people are still keeping up with them after molestation allegations against Josh Duggar, the oldest of Jim, Bob, and Michelle's children, ended in his arrest on child pornography charges and a 151-month prison sentence. His sisters have since been inspired to speak out about their upbringing, and Vu has been among the most vocal, which she said was hard and scary, but also necessary. In her new book, People Please Her: Breaking Free from the Burden of Imaginary Expectations, Jinger Duggar dives into how she discovered her true identity after a lifetime of seeking approval from others. In an interview on CBS Mornings, she said she had to fight the people-pleasing urge when writing her previous book, saying it's interesting because whenever you look at the bigger picture of what people actually want to hear, they want to see your real life. And that was something that was hard for me for so many years, to get to that place where I was willing to open up and share. When I wrote Becoming Free, indeed, getting to that place where I was willing to speak up against the teachings that I was raised under was hard and scary. Jim, Bob, and Michelle Duggar raised their children under the teachings of disgraced religious leader Bill Gothard and the Institute in Basic Life Principles, which prioritizes male dominance, large families, and modest dress. Even Jinger Duggar's decision to break the no pants tenet that had been instilled took years to admit to her parents. The author said, although it made her uncomfortable and she was met with plenty of pushback, she felt she had to say something after she realized how harmful some of the teachings of their religion were. Jinger continued, I was the last person who wanted to say anything. But when all of these issues were coming up in the public, no one was saying anything, and I, as a people pleaser, was the last person who wanted to speak up. But I knew I had to. I was compelled to speak up because it was harming people. These teachings were dangerous, they were false. And so somebody had to speak up, she said. She saw friends who were being harmed by the evil way of life, and that gave her the courage to speak out. In Becoming Free, indeed, Jinger Duggar also felt the need to speak out about her brother Josh, and she suggested that there's still some tension between some of the Duggar siblings, telling CBS can be complicated at times with different members of my family. Most of them I get along pretty well with my siblings. My mother, I'm so thankful to have strong relationships with most of my siblings. And there are some where it still is a little bit difficult. Sounds like navigating those evolving relationships may still be a struggle, especially growing up with such strict guidelines. As to what was expected of her, and People Pleaser likely delves into more of that. Jinger Duggar is slowly opening up about the downside of her upbringing. In her newest book, she revealed she never learned to swim because of the family's dress code. Jinger Duggar spends much of her time out and about in Los Angeles in jeans and sneakers. Her fashion choices today are markedly different from the Duggar family dress code she had to abide by as a child and young adult in Springdale, Arkansas. While most of the world saw the Duggar family style of dress as a bit goofy and over the top, Jinger recently revealed that the clothes she wore as a child and young adult prevented her from learning to swim. In her recently released book, People Pleaser breaking free from the burden of imaginary expectations, Jinger revealed. The ultra-modest swim dresses she and her sisters wore left he petrified of the water. The Duggar family's strict dress code was the focus of the family's initial series, 19 Kids. And counting how they dressed to swim was of particular interest. The Duggar boys were allowed to wear swim trunks and t-shirts or wetsuits. To swim, the Duggar daughters, however, were forced into long swim dresses. The loose-fitting garments would impede even the most seasoned swimmer from taking a lap. The long dresses with high necks and long leggings underneath were just uncomfortable to swim in, insists Jinger. In her book People Pleaser, Jinger Duggar revealed that the family's strict dress code left her petrified of the water. The dress code prevented her from learning to swim because she felt like she was sinking. She pointed out that the physics of the swim dresses just didn't work. Jinger divulged that she only started to rectify the situation and learn how to swim when she changed her style of dress and accepted athletic into her life. She also had to learn to let go of her embarrassment to get started. She revealed a friend had been helping her learn to swim in the privacy of her backyard pool. There isn't an uncomfortable swim dress in sight. Though the Duggar family's dress code was updated as they gained a following and more money, once married, the Duggar daughters and several Duggar daughters-in-law ditched the dresses and skirts. They regularly opt for pants and even shorts now. But what exactly do they swim in these days? Most of the married Duggar daughters have dropped the Duggar family swimming dress code in favor of more traditional, albeit still modest, swim attire. Joy Anna Forsythe shared photos of a girls' trip to the beach in 2022. She opted for swim shorts that ended above her knee and a tank style top. Jessie Sewald has also shown off her swim attire on social media. She opts for board shorts and a sleeveless shirt for lounging in a pool. Jill Dillard even featured some modest but functional swimsuits on Instagram. While Jinger hasn't shown off a swimsuit collection to the public, she seems dedicated to having the right gear and apparel to complete a task. Surely learning to swim, even as an adult, is a much easier task now that she's ditched the painfully billowy swim dresses. Her youngest siblings aren't as lucky. Last year, several Duggar family members documented the family's beach vacation. The married Duggar adults wore more mainstream clothes at the beach till Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar's minor daughters were captured wading in the water in the garish swim dresses. Successful author Jinger Duggar VOA was just 10 years old when 19 Kids and Counting began. She continues to live her life publicly, but now on her own terms. Vu and her husband Jeremy recently announced the gender of their third child together and continue to be in a relationship with her controversial parents. Vu has sorted through much of her upbringing, not throwing out everything but saying, "Okay, that was very wrong and that was messed up," she told Entertainment Tonight. Jinger Duggar Vu spoke of a reassuring journey with God. "I believe more than ever that God is good and that I am his child," she said. Vu desires the same for her children. Vu posted a series of videos capturing the gender reveal and announcements of the couple's third child after two girls, Jeremy and Jinger, are expecting their first son in March 2025. Couple wanted to find out the gender together, so they opened a package that Jessa Vu's sister sent, containing a baby's outfit. Both were thrilled to see a boy's pants, collared shirt and suspenders. "I was so shocked I almost fell out of my chair," VOA recalled. When she found out she was expecting a boy, the Vu girls, Felicity 6 and Evangeline 4, were both excited too. They told dozens of family members who were present at Christmas that the Vus were expecting, and Felicity had the special opportunity to announce said it was a boy. Vu continues to work through the damage done while living in a strict religious family in the public eye. But there were sweet moments of truth as well. She continues to have a growing faith in Christ and encourages her kids to do the same that I was the last person in the world who wanted to say. Anything against the teachings that I was raised under shared Vu. I like to keep everybody on my good side. Growing up in a large family with strict guidelines proved to be difficult for Vu. Any sort of argument or ruffling feathers was rejection. She recalls she wanted to break these chains of people-pleasing. Whenever we were going out, we wanted to make sure we had this perfect smile on our face, to make sure everybody saw how happy we were. Said View the same time it was damaging, because then you aren't being authentic, you're not actually being yourself.